Terry. How about the Respects 21-20? And we were 3 yards from upsetting the number 5 team in the state.
Live from Steubenville, Ohio, Ohio Valley Sports Online presents Week 2 of the Coaches Show, where we present each week the coaches from our local high schools, starting at 6 o'clock with Coach Reno Sockhart from Steubenville Big Red, followed by Coach Andrew Carter of Indian Creek. Next up would be Coach Josh Frankie of the Toronto Red Knights, followed by Coach Eric Meek of Steubenville Central, and then finishing out the night will be Coach Mike Colopy of the Edison Wildcats. The Steubenville Big Red portion of the show is brought to you by Fort Steuben Maintenance. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Coaches Show, Week 2. And as always, Coach, thank you for stopping by.
Thanks for having
busy. Just get right into Week 1. Didn't go as planned, but especially the weather, different things.
Really, those are all excuses. We just sitting. You can't turn the ball over and. Hey, winning isn't easy, and bouncing back isn't easy. So we had a rough first week. We had a rough week of practice, but I have faith in our kids, and that's what we talked about right after the game, trust. They got to trust in us that we're going to keep working, and we got to trust in them that they're going to just do whatever we ask them to do. So, it's a trust game right now either way.
Coach, so... You got me, Dan? All right, there we go.
There we go.
The old saying, and I know you know this better than anybody, your biggest improvement comes from Week 1 to Week 2. What's been your focus in practice this week?
Really, it's the same thing every day. It's the same thing every day. Monday and Tuesday, we work on making Big Red better. Wednesday and Thursday, we work on our opponent. And this was no different. Although our practice broke up a little bit today because of the rain. Our focus has just been on just staying focused, get to the next play. I mean, that's important. And I think that the rain delay was really a blessing to us because our kids came out and we had the ball.
Right.
With the possibility of tying the game up. And, that doesn't happen very often when you're down 2 touchdowns and a 90-minute rain delay. And if you look at the game in retrospect, they scored their last touchdown with 11 minutes and 50 seconds to go in the third quarter, and only had 4 first downs after that. So, I mean, we played good enough to win, and we played bad enough to lose, and no excuses. We'll be back. Our kids will. I have faith in our kids. I mean, we're not the only team to lose in the opener, but it's how you bounce back, and we'll bounce back.
Just talking at the beginning of the game, they go. They had a nice drive, and one thing that I noticed, and like you said, you don't win them all, and things have to happen for you to win. You had them 4th down twice, and they got lucky, got a couple first downs.
They got 2. They converted two 4th downs and a 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 7. So, I mean, our first defensive drive wasn't very good, but I thought we played pretty good after that, and we played a good football team. It wasn't like we played the Sisters of the Poor. We played a good football team. I feel we're a good football team. I feel like we're still a good football team, but you can only talk so much. You got to put it out on the field now.
So, Coach, looking at, not to dwell on last week, but this week's opponent, New Philadelphia. Played them several years in a row now. What do they have coming back? What do they bring to the table as far as challenges?
They're a lot, formation-wise and defensive-wise, a lot like Ursuline. Talent-wise, not as good as Ursuline, but I think Ursuline has some exceptional talent. I think that New Philadelphia is more like us, and I would say that our defensive line has a little bit more experience than their offensive line. But our offensive line is young, and their defensive line is back from last year. So we just got to do what we do, and just adjusted their formations. They're tight end. They have a tight end in the game sometimes. They have a fullback in the game sometimes, and at times they have both in the game. And they do certain things off of that we just have to. Our kids picked it up pretty good today, and hope.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. And hopefully that we're able to make our adjustments Friday night.
And I'm just, I always like to bring up the positives, of the, even in a loss. What, like you said, what did they take? What do you take? The biggest positive thing that you took from that game last week?
The biggest positive that I took from the game was after the 90-minute delay. Being down and then going out after the 90-minute delay, and just the way we played. I really that's the positives I take out of it, the way we finished, and we actually had it. At tying it up, but our kids didn't quit, and the positive I'm taking out of the game is, hey, that's one game. We got 9 left. And I'm not the kind of guy that I'm not going to pout about it. If you tell your kids to get to the next play, then you got to get to the next day. What's the difference? The next play or the next day. I'm not going to let yesterday affect today. And our players got to the next day. And turnovers, a physical mistake. I consider turnovers a mental mistake because it's a mental letdown for that 1/10 of a second that you can't have. And but as far as last week's, it's over. It's done with. We're on to New Philadelphia, and I think that our players will come out and represent Steubenville and Big Red in a first-class manner.
For you, turn some turnovers they had into big plays for you. Definitely could tell that he's a 3-year starter out there. So that's in your opinion, is he one of your guys that your team kind of rallies around and looks to draw the leadership from?
I'm glad you brought that up because I tell our players all the time, if a coach or coaches are the leaders of your team, you're going to have a good team. If your seniors are the leaders of your team, you're going to have a great team. You're going to have a championship caliber team. And our seniors are taking some leadership. It's just that some of our seniors are such good kids. They don't talk, and
right.
So in high school you get that sometimes. You don't get very many arrogant players that are good, know they're good, and they're the leaders. So you get a lot of kids that are just lead by example and don't talk too much. So that's what we have right now. We have a good senior